Good morning and welcome to our 9:30 call with the commissioner. We're going to turn things over to Excel Linguistics to give us some information about live translation.
Perfect. Thank you, Amy. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to share my screen. So this morning we have interpretation available in Spanish. So we're going to make this announcement in English and Spanish to show you how to select your preferred language. In just a moment, you will see this globe icon next to the word interpretation. You will find this at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you click on that globe, you can select your language. If you have joined from a cell phone or tablet, look for the three dot buttons on your screen next to the word more. From there, you will see interpretation as an option in the list to choose your language. An important reminder, everyone should select the language and stay in that channel. Now, I will turn it over to Jimena to repeat that in Spanish.
Buenos días, esta mañana vamos a tener servicios de interpretación en inglés y en español. En un momento cuando estos inicien, verán que el icono de un globo aparece en la parte inferior de su pantalla. Si ustedes dan clic, podrán seleccionar el idioma en el que quieren participar en esta reunión. Si usted se está uniendo a través de un celular o de una tableta, busque los tres puntitos junto a la palabra más o more y de ahí sale la Language Interpretation. Si le da clic, aparecerá una lista de los idiomas y de ahí podrá seleccionar el español para participar en esta reunión. Como un recordatorio, independientemente del idioma que usted hable, es muy importante que usted seleccione un idioma. Gracias.
Perfect. Now, everyone should be available to select the language. Back to you, Amy.
Thank you so much. We are so grateful to be working with Excel. We had an event on Wednesday night where there was live interpretation into Spanish and Portuguese, and we are just so grateful to have partners in you. As folks are joining, this is our last 9:30 call of 2024. And so as the commissioner is speaking, it would be great to hear in the chat if folks want to add kind of like what's one thing you're taking away from 2024 that you hope to continue in 2025. So we'd love to see the chat fill up with those ideas. And now, Commissioner, I will turn things over to the commissioner. And Commissioner, you had the board meeting yesterday. As you think about it, great to hear from you what you're thinking about bringing from 2024. At the event on Wednesday night, we did have some questions that popped up. So, kind of after you're done your update, I'll share some of the things that we heard then. But just want to think about as you're going, I'll moderate the chat and keep track of the questions. So I'll turn things over to you.
Good morning again. Thank you so much, Amy, and thank you to our interpreters. I'm so glad to know that we're able to make this information available in multiple languages for those who are participating. We've done a lot over the last 2 years to improve language access, both through our systems and through our information and materials. And so share with you the commitment to making sure we are providing information and access in as many languages as possible for our field.
Amy, one thing I'll remind us both of is about speaking slowly. We got feedback. We often get feedback that people are speaking very quickly. So it may seem like we're slowing it down, but that's intentional. All right, Amy. So Amy, tell us more about the board meeting and share your update.
First, I'm confirming my language.
Okay, great.
All set. Yeah, I don't know if I should start with a reflection on what I'm happy about with 24 and looking forward to 25. Maybe I will end with that.
Great.
So yesterday we had our last EEC board meeting, Department of Early Education and Care board meeting of 2024. We were so excited to be at Community Teamwork in Lowell, where we started with a tour of their program. So many amazing things happening there. Really excited to visit their new behavioral health center, which is bringing trauma-informed and behavioral health supports to children, educators, and families really focusing on the whole program, the whole needs of classrooms and families, and really excited that both our Commonwealth Cares for Children or C3 funding and also the increases we've made in our rates to child care financial assistance continue to be part of helping support those kinds of services across programs, and look forward to more of that. So I don't know if we have any of our colleagues or Megan Seabor from Community Teamwork, but we are so grateful for them hosting us and for the work they do every day. We spent some time in classrooms with some preschoolers who shared their lunch with us, which was wonderful, and got to meet some of the educators who are doing incredible work for kids and families. There is an enormous transportation operation happening, something we don't talk about that often here, but is an incredibly important part of our system. And if the kids can't get to the programs, we know they can't access the services. So really just a shout out to the transportation team at CTI, Community Teamwork, for the work they do every day to keep kids coming in and out, hundreds of kids across their region of the state. We also spent some time in the kitchen with the kitchen staff. So really got to think a lot about just beyond the classroom, what it takes to support a truly comprehensive program for educators, for teachers and children. We met the social workers, and many of you may have heard from Community Teamwork previously. They had a unit or a set of staff at the agency called Intake and Billing. And that was the first staff that most families who were interacting with the program would meet with. And since all of the work we have been collectively doing to center the experience of families in our system, they have now changed the name of that team to Family Access to align with a lot of the work that we all have been doing at EEC and across and AMU and many of us to really center the experience of families and welcoming them into our system, whether it's at Community Teamwork or at the department. So thank you again to our hosts. We had 2 agenda items and a number of updates. So I wanted to make sure everyone is aware that the Early Education Scholarship Program is still open. I know we've had a number of information sessions, and you have here too, until January 15th. Our Career Pathways program, which operates at all 15 community colleges and also at Urban College, also has openings for the spring. So if there's coursework, classes that you would like to take, child growth and development or other classes, we wanted to make sure you were aware. Yesterday, we also announced $4 million in new capital grants or facilities grants, large center-based program grants. Really excited to see those grants going out and the impact that they'll have. It has been a really important year for capital investments and recognizing the importance of child-centered, educator-focused spaces across the state. So that $4 million is on top of $8.5 million dollars that we have put out for smaller size grants at centers. And for the first time, we are working with our sister agency, Mass Development, on our capital grant program for family child care providers. Those applications are currently being reviewed. We received 1,600 applications for capital grants at our family child care programs. There are about 55,600 licensed family child care programs across the state. So you can see the need is very high across our family child care programs. So we're looking forward to moving that program forward as well. I think I'll start talking a little bit about the 2 agenda items that we talked about at the board meeting. So the first, we received an update on the Interagency Task Force on Early Education and Childcare. This is Governor Healy and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll's what we call whole of government approach to childcare. So really bringing all the resources across state government to think about the needs and support and strengthen the early education and care field. That means not just Department of Early Education and Care focusing on new resources and programs and how we might support the field and strengthen it, but we have our partners in K-12 education, in higher education, in workforce development, in economic development, in energy and environment, in technology, and health and human services. And all of those agencies have spent the last year learning about the needs in the early education and care field and trying to identify ways that their agencies, whether it's new apprenticeship programs or the career centers or resources that are available for small businesses, how those resources can be brought into the early education and care field and support us even better. And that has been a terrific process. It's been amazing to work with and learn with all of the other state government agencies who now, because of the work you all do, understand the power of early education and also the needs we have in our field. I want to thank all of you who participated in the 14 listening sessions that were held for that task force. The information that was gathered about the needs in our system and also really great ideas about solutions to some of those needs are providing the foundation for where that task force will go. So I'm sure Eugenia has already put a copy of the slide deck in the chat, so you can see the update that we received from Secretary Tutwiler, along with Secretary Jones and Undersecretary Sarah Stanton from Economic Development. We are anticipating a year one report. That task force will have been up and running since January of this year. So we will be issuing a year one report of some of the work we've done, looking at other states, what we heard in our listening sessions, recognizing the progress that's already happened in our field and the areas that need further development, including how all those other systems could bring resources to think about how we really create a thriving early education and care sector, both for our families and for our economy. So that has been a very valuable process. It is a 3-year task force. And so we anticipate the coming year to focus on recommendations and action. If this year was a learning year, which I think has been really valuable, to hear our Secretary of Labor, who's responsible for the overall workforce system and working with employers, really understand the needs of the early education and care workforce and think about how they as a system can really make resources available for meaningful pathways is a very significant kind of advancement from the last year. And that's just one example. So we look forward to the next year where I think we'll roll up more sleeves into recommendations and actions. And we expect that to continue to be done in a way that engages our field and gives opportunity for input and feedback and solutions from all of you.
And Amy, just I added to the chat. I was watching the board meeting yesterday and simultaneously sent Secretary Tutwiler a note to invite him to join the 9:30 call to share kind of the update from the soon to be released report. I also did see a question about the scholarship if it's available in other languages, and Eugenia answered the question in chat. So thank you, Eugenia, and thank you, Eugenia, for putting all these links into chat. And thank
And thank,
you.
yeah,
Go. Thank you, Julian,
and
for
thank
putting everything in Spanish. I also wanted to just shout out Kim Davenport, who joined us, who was just named the incoming CEO at Edward Street in Worcester. Kim, we cheered you yesterday, but you weren't on the call, so there's that too. Okay, Amy, back to you.
Congratulations, Kim. Let us know how we can support you in your new role. Looking forward to partnering there. The second, so more to come on the task force, but know that just as Kim said, hope and connection is something that I feel very strongly coming out of the task force first year, and the work that will take place as a result of it. It takes a while to make sure everyone across state government knows more about early education and care, but we are, I think, among the only states in the country who have taken an approach like this. And just really grateful for those of you who helped think of this idea and have helped support it over the last year. So the second agenda item, we are fortunate to have funding from this year's budget to increase rates for childcare financial assistance. We have $22.5 million this year that we are working on proposals and options for consideration by the board. Last year, you may recall, we had 65 million, and the year before that, we implemented nearly $80 million in rate increases. So we have had 2 years of very significant increases, and I recognize that 20 million, 22.2 million, which is a lot of money, won't feel as significant as we implement these increases, but that is the amount that we've been budgeted. At the board meeting, we talked about the work over the last 2 years to move away from the market or the price of childcare as a way to look at how we set rates and move towards a more cost-based. So what is it actually costing our programs to deliver early education and care? And how can we make sure that the rates that you all receive who participate in childcare financial assistance, that rate is better reflective of the actual costs that you have to pay teachers, to pay insurance, to pay rent or mortgage. And so we have been studying the cost of care and then using that research to inform our rates. Last year, you're aware, we made very significant changes. With the 65 million, we were able to give at least a 5.5% increase to everyone, and also make really significant changes to some rates that were very below the cost of care. So correcting what we consider long-standing inequities or unfairnesses across age groups and regions. We simplified our rate structure, and even though we have a smaller amount of funding this year, the agency is committed to continuing to do both things again, which is recognize that everyone's costs have increased. So we would like to have everyone receive some level of increase, and also make sure that we're continuing to address those inequities, whether it's in age groups or types of care, or in our regions. So the two options that we presented yesterday at the board do those things. Some level of support for everyone and an increase, and some level of targeted adjustments for those rates that are furthest below or furthest away from the true cost of care. I should say this is a long-term strategy and plan, and each year we hope to get closer and further as we continue to study and learn about the costs of care. And 22.5 means that even in a cost of living adjustment is probably going to be in the 1 to 1.5% category, because that's the funding that's available. We would love to be making additional rate increases available this year, but we are responsible to live within the money that's been made available. So we can expect more modest increases this year, but continuing to make progress towards both of those important goals, which is addressing the costs for everyone, which we know have gone up significantly, and also continuing to bring greater equity to our rates of reimbursement for childcare financial assistance. You can see great detail about the options that we presented to the board in the slides, so I'm not going to go through those. But the board considered the options yesterday, and we presented. The team at the department who worked on this did a fantastic job, really trying to figure out how to maximize this amount of funds towards those two goals that I talked about. So I encourage you all to take a look at the different options. We wanted to present the options and then have the board vote after the new year to give opportunity for input and feedback. So we expect and hope to hear from you on your input on the options that we've presented, recognizing that the funding is constrained and the amount of overall increases will be less than some may have hoped.
And Amy, I just want to reiterate, and this came up on Wednesday night in our event with SEIU 509 and Neighborhood Villages. The legislature basically tells EEC, this is how much money you have from the state budget. They give them a number and they give language to say, and this is how you should spend it. And some are more prescriptive, like this is exactly how you should. Some are more like you have some choices about how to do this. So what Amy is just explaining is there's $22.5 million, which is the number they have to work with. And then they have some way of getting that money out to people. And that was a discussion at the board yesterday, kind of presenting some options. And as Amy said, and I think has been the culture for most of us, you wouldn't want to walk into a meeting and vote on something immediately. You'd want some time to think about it. And we know that that also can delay how money gets out because the budget passes and then the clock starts ticking. And so, and then Harold and Paula just asked about the requirements of the FCC capital grant. And so we've talked to the commissioner also about making a one pager about how this works, where the decisions are, when can we influence the decisions? Because right now we know the governor is preparing her budget proposal for FY26. So now is the time that we have to be influencing for the next fiscal year. And I think the more that people on the 9:30 call have become aware of this process, the more questions that are coming up, which is exactly where we should be. So we want to make sure we're providing accurate information and opportunities to kind of talk it through. Because often sometimes we might think ooh, that person made the decision. So I'm gonna kind of go after that. And then only to realize nope, the decisions were made over here and we missed an opportunity to influence them. That's my
Thank you.
advocacy pitch for
Yeah.
today.
Well, I think it demonstrates the important partnership of the facts that the agency is operating under and what we're trying to do with the resources and the guidance we've been given from the legislature and the role that advocacy has as well.
Right.
So I'll just stop with a sort of reflection. We have made an enormous amount of important progress over the last year. We have a governor, a lieutenant governor, and a legislature, and an advocacy community that is focused on the best needs of our field. And I think it's been it's been a really terrific and significant year of progress. And we have a long way to go. And so I'm looking forward to staying together on how we do that into this next calendar year. And I remain incredibly grateful for all of your partnership and to the EEC team I couldn't be more lucky to work with a talented set of public servants who care every day and bring their best work to engaging with all of you and to thinking about how to move the system forward in the way that we need to. So for all the EEC team who are here, thank you for your service. We are so grateful to have you in the Commonwealth, and to all of our partners, just grateful for the work you do, and I'm wishing you all restful and restorative holiday seasons, which I know everyone needs.
And Amy, we have 1 minute left, which is a lifetime here on the 9:30 call. And just appreciate everybody adding in the chat. Love and appreciation for the commissioner, for the team at EC, for each other, for this incredible community that we did have 160 people join us this morning, Commissioner. What can we do? Stay together has been your message. What can we do kind of to help move all of our visions through? We'll continue the 9:30 call, but what other things are helpful to you as you sit kind of as commissioner?
I think we need to continue to do what we just did today, Amy, which is make sure it's clear sort of what the agency is doing and what options and opportunities we have. One thing that has become so clear in my time back at EEC is that it's going to take much more than this agency to be able to bring the work and transformation that we need within our field. And we have partners in the business community, in the private philanthropy community. We are building an incredible set of partners across state government now. I had an opportunity to meet with the Lawrence Partnership last week, which is an amazing group of leaders in the Lawrence community whose top economic development agenda is childcare. So we need our local municipal partners. So I think it's going to take all of us working with different resources and different parts. And I think one of the things we can do here is make sure that if there is a broader agenda about how we get to where we want to go, that each of us are figuring out how to do our part. So we're not duplicating, but we're using all of our energies to kind of move things bigger and better.
Commissioner, we are so grateful for you. We are so grateful for this incredible community. We are so grateful for Excel Linguistics. So please continue to show love and appreciation for them in the chat. We will be back in action on January 6th. Strategies is taking a page of rest, and we will be closing for the next 2 weeks. We'll be monitoring email. So if you need anything, please connect with us. We'll send out an email today, and then next Friday we will send the email out for the first. We already are getting booked for January, but if you have people or topics that you want to hear more about, please let me know. It will be our 5-year anniversary in March. I just invited somebody to the call who got the email and said it's unbelievable that this is still going on. And it's because everybody keeps showing up. We've confirmed the commissioner's dates for 2025. So thank you to you and Jackie for doing that. And we at Strategies are wishing you all the best over the next 2 weeks. Please take time for yourself. Please look around and then feel the love that it will be surrounding you over the next 2 weeks. And thank you so much for joining us. And we will see you on Monday, January 6th. Thank you so much. We'll keep the
Thank
chat open so
you.
we can keep the love coming for everybody.